Hi everyone, and welcome to our final video in the Atlas Annuity Strategy video series. In this video, we're going to talk about something that is absolutely critical to making sure your safe money retirement strategy works, which is working with the right expert. Now, I get calls every week from people who were sold the wrong annuity because their advisor didn't understand how to structure it properly. And sometimes it's not even the wrong annuity, it's just being used the wrong way. Or I'll have people call me with a dollar amount in mind, and they'll say, I want to put $100,000 into an annuity. And that's totally fine. But what a lot of advisors will do is just say, okay, great. And they'll randomly pick an annuity for you, take the commission, and disappear. But when someone calls me and has a specific dollar amount in mind, my first question is always going to be, what is the purpose of the money? Because the amount you put in should be based on your income needs, liquidity needs, and financial goals, not some random number you just came up with. So unfortunately, too many advisors will just take your money, throw it into an annuity, collect their commission, and disappear. That's not how it works here at Atlas. My job is to make sure you don't overinsure by putting too much in, or that you don't underinsure by not putting enough in to solve your retirement income needs. And if an annuity isn't the right tool for your solution, I'll be the first one to tell you. Now, when it comes to retirement planning, there are 4 key experts you should be working with. Number 1 is a safe money expert. This is someone who specializes in annuity planning and life insurance strategies to protect your income. That's me. You want a risk money expert, an advisor or investment manager for your stocks, bonds, and equities. You want a tax expert, preferably a good one, a CPA or strategist to minimize taxes on your retirement income. And you want an estate planning expert, so some sort of estate planning attorney for trust, wills, and legacy planning. Now, I know a lot about investing, taxes, and estate planning, but I'm not an expert in those areas, and that's why you shouldn't take my advice on them. And this goes both ways. If your financial advisor does not specialize in annuities, they are not the person you should be listening to about annuities. It's no different than in the medical world. You don't go to a general physician for knee surgery. You go to an orthopedic surgeon, someone who specializes in knee replacements. So retirement planning works the exact same way. Another red flag to look for is what's called a captive agent. A captive agent is someone who only represents one company or a small handful of annuity providers. The problem is they only have a few options to offer you. So they try to fit your situation into what they have instead of finding the best option available. It's like the old saying, if all you have is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. At Atlas, I'm completely independent. I use third-party software to compare all the available annuities for your situation. That way, you're not taking my word for it. You can actually see side-by-side comparisons and know for sure that you're getting the best deal. And a perfect example of this is going to be our 4th and final case study with Joe and Sharon, who are great people who just blindly trusted their advisor, who was not an annuity expert. So let me show you what can happen when you work with the wrong advisor. Joe and Sharon are both 62 years old, and they wanted guaranteed income for when they retire next year, so they went to their advisor. Now, this advisor works for a big name brokerage, a firm you would definitely recognize. But here's the issue. When they approached him and said they liked the idea of guaranteed income and wanted to consider an annuity, the first thing he did was try to talk them out of it. And unfortunately, I see that happening a lot. And my cynical side tells me it's because the advisor is completely clueless on how annuities work, or they're going to take a pay cut if he puts his client into an annuity. Now, of course, he would get a commission to help them fund the annuity, but most advisors rather charge their ongoing management fee. Again, this is my cynical side, but let me ask you a question. If you were a realtor and you had the option of taking a one-time commission of 6%, or you could take 2% every year on the ever-increasing value of the home for as long as your clients owned it, which one would you choose? Exactly. So don't be shocked if you go to your current money manager and they dog on annuities and won't even entertain the option. That's a red flag. It means they don't know anything about them, which makes him or her the wrong person to be talking to, or they're trying to continue to charge you ongoing management fees to provide them with income, which effectively makes you an annuity for them. And don't get me wrong, you're going to want money in the market and you're going to want a professional to manage that for you. I have no problem with that. I only have a problem when the idea of guaranteed income is completely shut down without an educated reason being provided as to why or why not. So even if the advisor is on board, or you force them to get on board, most likely they're going to be very limited to what they can offer you. That's what happened to Joe and Sharon. Their advisor had them fund 2 separate variable annuities with $100,000 each, one in each of their names. Now, if you don't know much about variable annuities, I call them the wolf in sheep's clothing because they have extraordinarily high fees, average about 3.5%. You can 100% lose money inside of them due to market downturns. The vast majority of them have lower income payouts than a lot of other annuity or options out there, income annuity options. And then a lot of them will only offer a single life payout option, which means the income stops when one of the spouses dies. So here's a look at Joe and Sharon's variable annuities. So again, they did $100,000 each in each of their names, so $200,000 total. But here's what the annuity looked like internally. It had M&E fee, mortality and expense fee of 1.9%, an income rider fee of 1.5%, a fund management fee of 0.7%, and then an annual maintenance fee of $50. Death by 1,000 cuts here. Total fees 4.1% per year. And it had a guaranteed payout of $4,095 per year, or roughly $8,200 total between the two of them. Now, here's the problem. If one of them dies, that annuity dies with them. Now, based on the illustrations we ran, both annuities would be depleted by their early 80s, which honestly isn't an uncommon thing with income annuities if you live long enough. The biggest risk with this annuity recommendation from their advisor is what happens when one of them passes away, because they're going to lose the annuity income and one of the Social Security incomes. And that completely defeated the purpose of what they were trying to accomplish. So they confronted their advisor about these pitfalls and the 4.1% in fees, and his response was, "I didn't know fees were important to you." So not only was that an extremely insensitive thing to say to someone who's getting ready to retire, of course fees are important. But needless to say, that relationship ended right then and there, and it should have. Now, in all honesty, I don't really have a problem with the fee because anything of value has an expense. You want electricity in your home? There's an expense. You want a cell phone? There's an expense. You want internet service? There's an expense in exchange for that value. If you want guaranteed lifetime income, there is an expense for that value. But what you should really be asking yourself is, what am I getting in exchange for that fee? And for 4.1%, Joe and Sharon were getting a lower income than they could be getting from another annuity type, the risk of losing principal due to market volatility, and a single life income that could leave the other person in a really bad position when one of them dies. However, I would not have brought any of this up if I didn't have a solution for them. So here's what we did. At the point that we met, they had been in this other annuity for about 4 years. So they were obviously past their free look period with the variable annuities. So I didn't want them to take a hit and lose money needlessly by surrendering the variables. So instead of taking a surrender penalty, we took an additional $200,000 from their portfolio and we funded a fixed indexed annuity with a guaranteed income rider. What this new annuity will do for them is they will have a guaranteed payout of over $9,900 per year, which is 21% more income than the variable annuity provided. It will lower their total fees to 1% versus the 4.1% that they were paying before. And it has a joint life payout, which means the income continues even if one of the spouses dies. No matter how long they live or how long one of them lives, that income will come in every single month, no matter what. And then to minimize the damage from the variable annuity, we also had them drop the income rider, which saved them 1.5% per year. And then we talked about, and I cannot give them specific advice on this, but we talked about the option of moving their sub accounts in that variable annuity to more of a stable index option until the surrender penalties expired. So by moving to a stable index or a bond sub account, that would hopefully earn enough to at least cover the remaining 2.6% in fees that they didn't have the option to drop. They were stuck with those. So this is why it's critical to work with the right expert. Not someone who only sells what they have, but someone who understands all the options and helps you make the best choice. Now, again, technically, I cannot give them any specific advice on what to do with the variable annuity because that's a securities product, but I can at least answer general questions for them so they know what they're looking at. But with their new annuity plan, it's basically on autopilot and they will never have the stress worrying about losing the income if one of them passes away. So we're going to wrap this up here. If you've watched all 5 videos, I know this has been a ton of information, but let me ask you one last question. If you could get 20% more guaranteed income in retirement, or you could save tens of thousands of dollars in fees and eliminate market risk on the money you cannot afford to lose, is it a ridiculous idea to spend 20 minutes on a call with me? Probably not. Here's what to expect on your end. We'll do a Zoom meeting or a phone call. I'll answer any questions you have. I'll end up gathering some information about your current situation and then design a strategy for you. We'll do an overview of your personal strategy, and then I'm going to send you all the information for you to review. So no in-person meetings unless you want one. No 5-step sales process to try and close you on the concepts. No opinions, no speculation. Just a phone call or a Zoom meeting to see if the Atlas Annuity strategy is right for you. And at that point, the ball is very much in your court because I'm a terrible salesman because I'm not going to start calling you 3 times a week to see if you made a decision. I'm not going to ask you 7 questions that force you to answer yes and hope you'll say yes to the 8th question about doing business with me. I don't do any of that stupid crap they talk about in the sales books. Number 1, I just don't have time to chase people around. And number 2, I promised myself when I started this business, I would never do that to people because I don't like it when people do that to me. I don't like being pressured, and I already know you don't either. So you either like the strategy or you don't. It's as simple as that. But again, it's going to be totally up to you because we'll either execute the plan and implement it, or we'll execute the plan and we'll kill it. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video series. I know it's been a lot of information, but if the Atlas Annuity strategy looks like it can benefit your personal situation, your next step would be to go to atlasannuity.com and schedule a short phone call or screen share. That web address will take you directly to my calendar where you can find a convenient time for your schedule. Again, this is Marty Becker, and I wish you all the best in your financial education.